Who will reach the conference finals in both the NBA and NHL playoffs? Which potential free agents will find a new home this summer? And which Chicago baseball team rules the city? Find out next. MCTV Sports 101 starts now.
Welcome to MCTV Sports 101. I'm Becca Chance, joined as always by Kyle Stafford and Billy Ingle.
Hey, Becca.
Hey.
All right, let's get to business. With the second round of the NBA playoffs underway, guys, who do you think will make it to the conference finals?
Well, I'm going to start in the Western Conference. First off, I'm going to go with Oklahoma City. I think they're going to get past the Spurs. They just tied the series the other night.
His controversial calls.
Hey, either way, Ginobili crossed the timeline before the foul occurred, so let's put that to rest right away.
I agree.
Okay, now Miami and Cleveland, I think they get to the conference finals, and of course Golden State. I just don't see any other upsets coming. I think Toronto's going to get swept. I just, after the loss the other night, I just don't think they can do it.
And you know, one thing that I saw intriguing about the other night is Kyle Lowry was in the gym until 1 o'clock in the morning after scoring only 7 points in that last loss.
3 for 13 again.
I mean, it's it's astounding to me to see someone. It's just like the man has the yips, and he's just forgot how to shoot the basketball here in the playoffs. It's kind of crazy. And another thing is I think you're discounting these Spurs way too quickly. Now, don't get me wrong here, guys. I
have respect for them. I think they're good enough. I think the
Thunder are a great team, but man, you're talking about Greg Popovich and LaMarcus Aldridge, who is having some of the greatest playoffs I think in the league right now.
But I mean, you got to look at Tony Parker's kind of going down.
Yeah, he's going down, but you're not.
But you can't go
Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook are not going to solely beat the Spurs.
They did in Game 2.
Yeah, they got lucky that they almost gave up another one of those fourth quarter leads that they've been doing all year long.
There's time for learning. They learned from their mistakes in the regular season. Now they closed out the game. It was a 1-point win.
Yeah, they closed out the game, but you almost got to feel like they got it by luck. I mean, they turned it over. They turned it over in the last. You know what? You're right. When it all comes down to the only statistic that matters is wins. But, you know, otherwise than that, I think another one, the Cavs and the Hawks, I mean, the way LeBron's playing and Kyrie and Kevin Love.
Kyrie Irving
is really stepping up and playing a lot. And see, what I think it is, and you've said it once or twice before, that you think Kyrie is having a more impactful playoffs right now. But I think it's just what LeBron is doing to take the lesser role and being able to say, hey, Kyrie, you go score, you go be the star, and I'll play my role just to make sure that we win these games.
Well, and that happened last postseason before Irving got hurt. Kyrie Irving was playing really well, and then LeBron had to take over. But we'll see how the rest of the playoffs shake out. Atlanta did give them a scare. I don't think they got enough to do it. Becca, which second round matchup intrigues you the most?
I'm going to have to go with the Spurs and OKC. You really saw them go neck to neck on Monday night, and there was really a high level of intensity from both teams, especially that foul at the end from OKC. So I think they're going to ride this all the way to the 7th game, and it's going to go back and forth. Sticking with the NBA, a lot of big-name talents will be eligible for free agency this summer. Guys, which potential free agent intrigued you the most, and what are some possible leading spots for them?
Well, I mean, everyone obviously knows the biggest name out there is Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
but I mean, I want to put that off to the side. Another name that I have out here is Andre Drummond from the Detroit Pistons.
That'd be interesting to see where he goes.
I think a real great fit for him is the Boston Celtics. Now, I don't know that he will go there. There's obviously a lot of caps and restrictions, and the Pistons will have their chance to match. But I think if he were able to go out there with Isaiah Thomas and really get a big man down there,
pick and roll.
I think that would be really good for both of them. I think that'd be a great combination. Another one is DeMar DeRozan. He, obviously, Toronto has been struggling in the playoffs consistently year after year. They're only being mediocre. So a team I'd like to see him go to is maybe the New Orleans Pelicans. With Anthony Davis out there, that'd be a nice one as well.
Well, you know, and you talk about DeRozan. Now, my only thing is, will teams want to sign him? Because, yes, he is great. He's an all-star in the regular season. But at the end of the day, you want to win championships, okay? And if you're not producing, which he's still getting about 20 points a game, but he's shooting horrendously from the field along with Kyle Lowry, okay? Maybe is it because he plays for Toronto? Is it because he gets to the postseason? He's just not a postseason type player. I mean, some players are like that. They're great regular season, and they're not good postseason. I think the Pelicans would be a good fit because they do kind of need that extra shooting guard because they do have Eric Gordon, but he's had a lot of injuries. I mean, I can't remember
the last season he played fully.
I can't remember any of the Pelicans that have played a full season in the past couple years. Look, I think there's some interesting ones. I like Hassan Whiteside. I want to see what he does for Miami because he's got the potential to be the next big thing.
Now, do you want him to leave, or what do you?
I'd like for him to stay. Just give another shot with Dwayne. I think it depends how the postseason plays out and how much money Miami has to offer him because we know he's going to want a max deal. And he might deserve it. But at the same time, he's not truly proven yet. So it'll be interesting to see. Also, Mike Conley is a big name for me, the point guard from Memphis. Memphis had a ton of injuries this year, including Conley. They still made the playoffs, but will they want to keep the core together? Will he want to stay? He said he wants to stay. I mean, he's practically come out and said, this is my home. I don't know anything else besides Memphis. But I think that's the biggest thing besides Kevin Durant, because I think he's got a good chance to leave. But I think Durant, depending on how the postseason goes, he may leave.
I think he might too. Becca, Kevin Durant is one of the biggest names in free agency this offseason. Do you see him staying with the Oklahoma City Thunder, or do you see him taking his talents elsewhere?
You know what? I'm not 100% sure. I think this year's playoff performance from OKC was really going to dictate Durant's decision on if he stays another year or if he leaves. And he's also spoken very highly of the Houston Rockets in the past, and also has really close ties with James Harden, who was acquired from OKC. So I think it's up in the air, but that's a definitely possibility. Moving on to the MLB, both the Chicago White Sox and Cubs are off to a fantastic start atop both American League and National League. Guys, do you like the chances of both teams to sustain the early season success, and which team will finish with the better record?
I like the Cubs. I mean, I think the Cubs probably going to finish with a better record. Chicago's probably overperforming
I think they are
right now.
I think they are too.
I did like some of the moves they got. They got Todd Frazier in the offseason, which was a big deal. And they got one of the best pitchers in the game, Chris Sale. I mean, he's off. He's off. You know, everyone's talking about Arrieta. We talked about Arrieta last week, or excuse me, on
Sale's
Tuesday.
off to just as great a start.
6-0 with a 1.66 ERA. So
38 strikeouts.
Yeah, and he strikes out people. He's kind of like Kershaw with the left-hander. You kind of you don't see that very much with left-handers. You know, the speed.
The ability to sit people down.
But I just think the Chicago offense is not the White Sox offense is kind of struggling. They're not at the best that they can be. Their pitching's really carrying them. You look at the Cubs, though. I mean, they're first in everything.
They've got their top 6 hitters are all hitting over 300 right now. That's ridiculous.
They're first in offense, first in pitching. I mean, what more can you want from a team like that?
I mean, I don't know. Miyanoori Kawasaki's hitting 500 right now. That is insane, guys. I mean, now granted, I don't think he'll be able to keep this up for the entire season, but what he's doing right now, it's just remarkable. And not only that, you got Jake Arrieta. You know, it was one thing that I didn't know about Jake Arrieta. His batting average is .267. He's the 7th best hitter on the Chicago Cubs right now.
Those top pitchers in the National League, they know how to get hits.
They do.
You know, look at Madison Bumgarner. He's been hitting home runs left and right for the Giants in his career. But, yeah, I mean, Chris Bryant, too, with the Cubs, the young rookie last year, he's really developing. Anthony Rizzo leads the team with 8 home runs. So I just think the Cubs, they had the higher expectations. The fact that they're living up to is pretty impressive.
I think so as well.
Look at teams like, unfortunately, my Houston Astros are not living up to their expectations. Even Kansas City's kind of dropping off, too. So it'll be interesting to see if the Cubs can keep it up. I think they're the best chance to keep it up. So, Becca, who do you have, the Chicago White Sox or the Chicago Cubs?
You know, the White Sox are doing really good this year. I hope they make it to the playoffs, but I'm going to go with the Cubs. They've remained at the top and lived up to their expectations and have an 18-6 record right now. The second round of the NHL playoffs is in full swing. Guys, which teams will receive the conference finals?
I mean, right now, I got the Sharks. They're playing pretty well right now. I mean, obviously, I want my Stars to try and make a comeback against the Blues, but I think the Sharks are going to come out of the West. And the Lightning, I know you said they've been playing real well. Another one, but these Capitals and this Penguins matchup.
That's the best series.
I mean, it's the best series. It's the one everyone wants to watch. It's got the 2 big-name players, and Alex Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby. Yeah. But what stood out to me was that in these 3 games that they've played already, they've got Alex Ovechkin has 1 goal. Crosby has 0 goals. Where are these guys? I mean, granted, they're still scoring in the games, but I want to see more goals by the Stars.
Well, I mean, that's what you want in the postseason. You want your Stars to show up, and I think that's the best series. There's been a couple of suspensions in that series as well on both sides with a couple of defenders. Both probably 2 of the best defenders for both teams. They've been suspended with some illegal hits, stuff like that. So there's some controversy there. I think Pittsburgh is going to pull that out. I just don't think. I mean, Washington's probably. In the regular season was the better team, but I just think Pittsburgh they have the number in the postseason. Washington struggled in the postseason, so
I would see Washington pull it out. I would like to see Alex Ovechkin pull this one out.
I think Tampa Bay. I think you talked about it. I like Tampa Bay Lightning. They were a young team a couple years ago and kind of made their run and played really well. So I like Tampa Bay Lightning to pull it out.
All right, Becca, which second round matchup intrigues you the most in the NHL?
I'm going to have to go with the Capitals and the Penguins. They both have some of the league's best players, and I think the Capitals are really going to have to capitalize on the Penguins' weaknesses that they've seen in the first 2 games if they want to tie up the series tonight. On Monday, the Tottenham Spurs and Chelsea match came to a 2-2 draw that allowed Leicester City to claim its first Premier League title. Entering the season as a 5,001 odd to win the title, City pulled off one of the most unbelievable seasons we have ever seen in sports. Guys, is this the greatest underdog story you've ever seen?
I mean, yeah, I think so. For a whole regular season.
I mean, other ones that come to mind. I mean, the Miracle on Ice when the USA beat Russia. But
even those are just games. I mean, they did this for an entire regular season. To go and win the title like this.
To me, the only equivalence that I can think of is like the Cleveland Browns winning the Super Bowl, guys. This does not happen.
Or the 76ers. You know how bad they are right now.
Or the 76ers.
But even they had better odds to win a title.
And I want to give my hats off to Leicester City for what they were able to do. Their first championship in the Premier League in the 132-year history. Their goal differential was +30, and a big hats off to Jamie Vardy, who was the forward for Leicester City, who scored 24 goals this season, who was one of their driving forces on why they were able to win the title. And it was remarkable.
Well, I think it's just great for the world of sports. I mean, because this is what you want. This is why we watch sports. This is why you don't give up on things like this, because it can happen for your team. Know. It gives you hope if your team's not great. So 76ers fans and Browns fans, hold out hope, because it may happen. It may happen. Becca, don't you wish you would have took a bet on Leicester City winning the title?
Don't we all? Leicester is about to pocket almost $220 million for their first English Premier League title. So I think they're pretty excited about that. But it was definitely an unexpected win, I think, by everyone, and it was definitely well-deserved. Last Thursday, the NCAA Division I board overturned their decision to ban satellite camps that was the center of much controversy. Guys, like or dislike the decision?
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest, I like it. And I mean, the fact that they wanted to implement this rule to begin with, it was all just because, John Harbaugh was in there. God, I cannot get this guy's name right. But it was because Jim Harbaugh was just making all these.
He was going to SEC country.
He was going into
that's forbidden territory.
And as soon as he went that, SEC wanted to complain about it. But the sports is all about trying to find that next competitive edge and what makes you better than your opponents.
Well, you got to in recruiting.
And exactly, and the fact that he did that and he went outside of the box, and he found a great way that nobody else thought of. And as soon as he did that, everyone got offended that they didn't think of it first. And so that's why this rule was initially put into place. So I'm glad to see that they overturned it.
Yeah, and it's hard to get recruits, from Texas and these southern states all the way up to Michigan, because that's a lot of money in airfare. And a lot of guys, they don't have the money to get up there. And so, I think it helps teams. Obviously, being a Tech fan, it does help Tech, because being 5 hours away from Dallas and 8-9 hours away from Houston, you're allowed to have those camps. You can go set up and watch the kids out there and figure out which ones you want to recruit. And then that way, then you can start bringing them to the campus. So I think it's good. I don't know why they banned it in the first place. Who knows what the NCAA does? I mean, they do some crazy things sometimes.
This isn't their most questionable rule they've ever made. Well, thanks for being a part of our team this year, Becca.
Of course, it's been fun. I'm looking forward to starting back at the show in the fall.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Well, that's our show for this week's edition of MCTV Sports 101. Unfortunately, this is our last episode of the spring semester. But don't worry, you can catch us again this fall. We want to thank our producer, Josh Robinson, our behind-the-scenes helper, AJ Sanchez, and Abby Aldridge for all they do. And we can't wait to see you again in the fall. For Becca Chance, I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. Till next time.